Jerry.
Sorry.
Okay.
Jerry, give us 2 Rolling Rocks and give me a kiss on it.
It's okay. It's a wedding, you know. It's supposed to like go have fun.
You really like Nick a lot, huh?
Nada.
A scene from The Deer Hunter with a nervous Robert De Niro encountering actress Meryl Streep at a wedding party before he goes off to fight the Vietnam War. Both actors received Academy Award nominations for their performances. The Deer Hunter received a total of 9 nominations. It's clearly one of the most talked about films of the year, one of 4 new movies we'll be reviewing on Sneak Previews, 2 film critics sharing their opinions on the latest films in town. And across the aisle from me is Roger Ebert, the Pulitzer Prize-winning film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And this is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune and CBS TV News in Chicago. We're going to talk now about The Deer Hunter, one of the most important American movies of recent years, and also one of the most emotionally overpowering. It's about the war in Vietnam, but it isn't really for the war and it's not against the war. It's more about how the war entered into the lives of a lot of Americans and changed some of them forever. It begins early one morning when a crowd of good friends finish up with an all-night shift at the steel mill, go to have a few beers at the saloon down the street, and this is going to be a big day for them. It's their last day at work, they've enlisted in the Army, and one of them is going to get married in a few hours. You can tell which one the groom is when his mother comes in and hauls him off the bar stool. I spent Saturday night like that myself. That sort of camaraderie, that singing along and hanging out and sticking together, is developed in a long and brilliant wedding scene. We saw a fragment of it at the beginning of the show, and there's a real sense of celebration there, a real community. But then the Deer Hunter cuts abruptly to the reality of Vietnam and to a prisoner of war camp where the Viet Cong is forcing American and South Vietnamese prisoners to play Russian roulette while they gamble on who will be the first to blow his brains out. For Robert De Niro and his friends, the time for singing is over.
Stevie, come down.
That's Christopher Walken, and the other one of the 3 friends is played by John Savage. The physical pain and mental dread is so real there that it gives you an idea of the impact this movie has. It's not just a war story, it's not just a movie, it's an experience. It's one that touches people in the audience so deeply that some of them can't take it. They've got to turn their eyes away from the screen, and I couldn't really blame them. The Deer Hunter isn't a perfect film. It raises some questions it doesn't answer. It's got some loose ends, but logic and perfection aren't what you look for in a movie that basically exists on the level of emotion and raw human feeling. And it's been a long time, Gene, since a movie has affected me so deeply.
It got to me too, very powerful. I think what I admire most about this picture is its sheer size. This is a really big film on the level of The Godfather. Big films in America normally mean exploding buildings. This is a film of very powerful ideas, strong personalities. The first hour of this 3-hour movie is all about this steel town and the people who inhabit it. It's really a loving portrait of working class people. If the film had ended there, it would have been a great movie.
You're right.
Then, then we get to Vietnam, and in about 30 minutes, this director, Michael Cimino, compresses the Vietnam combat experience. You just showed a clip on that prisoner of war sequence. Well, now we have another clip, because after escaping from that prisoner of war camp, Christopher Walken, in a memorable scene, sums up what a lot of combat veterans must feel. At a hospital in Vietnam, Walken is totally in shock. He won an Academy Award nomination for his performance, and this is the scene that probably did it.
Are you Nikonar Jabotorevich? Can you understand me, Nikonar? Are you Jabotorevich? Are you sure? Jabotorevich, is that a Russian name?
No. It's American.
All right, let me see your name tag. This yours?
Yes.
What are your parents' names?
Lou. My mother's name is, Eva.
And what are your parents' dates of birth?
That's powerful stuff, and it's impressive. Christopher Walken there, it's impressive seeing him develop some real feeling by not talking. He's just one of the fresh faces in the film. I was really impressed by the picture. It's like seeing a big novel or reading a big novel. Very impressive.
Kind of like The Godfather, which also had De Niro in it, I guess, in The Godfather Part 2. A real gallery of characters, a lot of depth. You know, a lot of people have asked me, okay, wonderful, the film got 9 Academy Award nominations, Best Film, Best Director, Best Actor. How come it isn't playing in my town? Because in most of the United States, it's only now opening, and that was the result of a decision by Universal, the studio that made it. They didn't know if America was ready yet for a big, heavy 3-hour drama about the Vietnam experience, and so they opened the picture in Los Angeles and New York to get the Oscar nominations. Now they've got the nominations, now the picture is opening throughout the country, and I think we're in agreement on this, that it is the picture to see right now. We do agree, though, that The Deer Hunter is one of the finest films of the year. 2 strong yeses for that one. Don't miss it.